The game today at 7, and we're going to go spread some love out to everybody on campus. Happy Valentine's Day. Chocolate? Would you like some chocolate?
Sure, thank you. Grab here.
This is for a very special lady right here. Emily?
Hello, everyone.
I have a very serious question to ask you.
Yes.
Would you please be my Valentine?
Yes!
Sharing some Valentine's Day love at Duke tonight. Tip-off between the Blue Devils and the Hokies coming up. Inside Cameron Indoor Stadium we go as the Duke Blue Devils will try to keep a streak of 23 straight wins against the Hokies alive. Virginia Tech, though, has won their last 2 ACC road games. Now, both of these teams trying to move up those ACC standings. It'll be hard to get to that top 4 who get the double bye for the ACC tournament, but you want to get out of the bottom 6 to avoid playing on the first day of that ACC tournament in Greensboro. Hi, everybody. I'm Jen Hildreth alongside Kelly Deo. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. And this is our second straight time, Kelly, getting a chance to see this Virginia Tech team who, despite their record, they seem to give a lot of opposing coaches fits.
Yeah, well, they're so diversified in their offensive approach. You can't just focus on one player or somebody else will go off. The losses that they've had have really been by small amounts of points. And against Louisville, they were down 3 with just 34 seconds left. They were definitely in that game. And that's why Coach P is so worried about tonight's game.
Well, one thing that Virginia Tech will have to worry about tonight, our hardy star to watch for the Duke Blue Devils, Haley Gurecki, having quite a year.
Well, this Duke team has been depleted by injury, losing 3 point guards essentially, and Gurecki has stepped up big time. She's leading this team in so many different areas. She leads all ACC guards with 8 double-doubles, had a triple-double this season, and the recipe for success this season has been simple. Shoot a high percentage of shots, score a lot of points for Haley Gurecki.
And that she has done. Gurecki ranking 3rd in the ACC and scoring. Her counterpart on the other side, Taylor Emery, right behind her, 4th in the conference in scoring. And those two absolutely went off when these two teams met last year in Blacksburg. Hokies take the tip, put the ball in the hands of their freshman point guard, Dara Mabry, who has been lights out from three-point range, leading the ACC in three-point percentage this season. Bounce pass inside to Reagan McGarity. Got a great look out of it, just couldn't finish.
Great offense there, coming right into the paint. Just couldn't put it down for McGarity.
Our starting lineup's brought to you by Toyota. First for the Duke Blue Devils as Gurecki takes their first shot and doesn't get it to go. There's Odom, Goodchild, Akinbadi, James, and Williams in that starting 5 for Duke along with Gurecki. And for Virginia Tech, mentioned Taylor Emery, their leading scorer, McGarity, Mabry, Alexis Jean back in the starting lineup tonight along with Trinity Baptiste. Here is Emery taking the 3, too strong. That is Anime Akinbadi James, the 6'3" freshman for the Blue Devils, who's been in the starting lineup now the last 7 games. And unfortunately for Duke, that absence of a true point guard, really one of their storylines all season long, certainly contributing to a lot of their problems. Good spin move inside by Williams.
I mean, it's forced Odom to be playing a lot more guard in this game, or all season long, really, and she's a player that plays mostly in the paint before all those injuries.
Baptiste over to Emery. Swinging around, McGarity can shoot the 3. Most of the Hokies can in some capacity. They are a very strong three-point shooting team, one of the best in the ACC. Goodchild, the freshman from Australia, her shot off the mark, but the offensive rebound kept alive by the Blue Devils.
Goodchild just 2nd in the conference for all freshmen in three-point shooting, field goal percentage. Dara Mabry, of course, right on top of her. So that will be a battle I'm so interested to see play out tonight.
Good block from Emery, just stripping the ball away. But then good hustle to get back into it. Gurecki trying to win it back. Mabry, nobody's been able to hit any anything so far, inside or out for either team.
Yeah, and a lot of outside shots taken right now for both teams. And I think I loved the look by Virginia Tech early on to get into the paint. They could not finish inside, but you do not want to just rely on that three-point shot.
Gorecki driving to the basket. There's the first one of the game. Both teams in desperate need of a bucket, and Gorecki provides it for Duke.
And those are the good high percentage shots that she wants to look for in this game, especially as you have Virginia Tech probably changing up defense. A lot of zone I think we're going to see from both of these teams. You want to get those paint touches.
Three-point shot, too strong. McGarity had the ball in her hands but couldn't grab onto it. This Duke team just under 500 overall, 11-12 on the season, 3-8 in the ACC after one of their worst starts to conference play in some time as Odom's shot around and out. Duke starting 0-5 in the ACC, their worst start since 1992-93. They were able to string together a couple of wins before their last game, low-scoring affair, loss last Sunday in Charlottesville to Virginia. Baptiste has the first points for Virginia Tech.
And that, of course, coming off that very high-scoring game against UNC. So I think that was a big disappointment for Coach P. She just said it was hard to have such a great scoring night and then come and play against UVA, where obviously they make you play ugly sometime with their defense, but they just could not get that efficiency going.
Gorecki got a friendly roll, and Gorecki has all four of Duke's points.
Gorecki has just taken on so much this season and is definitely the leader on this team. If there's an area where she struggles, it's going to be in the turnover category, and Duke, I think, in particular.
Mabry left open, don't want to do that. She drains it.
Yeah, that's one on the scouting report. You have to know where she is at all times. She should never get that clean a look at the three-point shot.
In the last 3 games, Dara Mabry is shooting 65% from 3, and in that stretch of 3, that includes Virginia Tech's only 2 wins in conference play, both on the road before that loss at Louisville at home on Sunday. Emery, the pull-up.
Emery was limited to just 8 points against Louisville, well below her season average of 17.
Odom has her first points of the game. She averages just under 14 for the season. And Emery didn't have any in the first half of that game against Louisville. So you think about Virginia Tech really able to keep it close. I mean, they were down 20 at the start of the third quarter, and they found a way to claw back into the game, largely without their leading scorer, Taylor Emery, being able to do very much.
And that's exactly what Coach P talked about, was just how you cannot focus on just one player. Somebody else will come up and hurt you.
Both these teams in need of an ACC win. It's a 1-point game early. Duke with a 1-point lead over Virginia Tech here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. And for Kenny Brooks and the Hokies, this is a team that ranks right up at the top of the ACC. They rank second at both three-point percentage and three-pointers made, but starting 1 of 6 from beyond the arc in this game. And for the Duke Blue Devils, Joanne P. McCauley certainly having some struggles to work through this season, as you can see by those numbers. Injuries have certainly played a part in what this team has been able to do. As Gorecki rattles it around and in. Tell you what, you cannot overlook what this young lady has been doing for this team this season.
I mean, she's just done so much. You think about the last 5 games in particular, upped her percentages in just about every category. In those last 5 games, she's averaged 21 points a game.
Odom winds up with the basketball and the takeaway. Both teams have had their struggles with turnovers. Gorecki, watch out, she is feeling it tonight.
She can be a streaky player. So if she gets going and her confidence is up, she will continue to hit those shots.
Kenny Brooks has gone to his bench. Kendall Brooks into the game. Rachel Camp as well. There is Camp with the basketball. Asia Shepard A shooter for sure off the bench for Virginia Tech, along with Brooks. They're just trying to find an opening right now. 4 on the shot clock. McGarity winds up with it. Put it on the floor. And now shot clock violation will give the ball to the Blue Devils.
That's one of those situations you just wish McGarity could have kept the ball high and gone right up without the dribble. I think that would have been an easy 2.
8-0 run by the Blue Devils, and most of that damage being done by Haley Gurecki. 10 of the 12 Duke points.
Coach Kenny Brooks just had the best things to say about Haley Gurecki. He said she's his favorite player to watch that does not wear a Virginia Tech uniform.
Yes. And I just talked about all the little things that she does, as well as all of the numbers that you see that are impressive. The spin move comes up just a little short for Williams. Faith Suggs into the game now, 2 for Duke. Emery back in for Virginia Tech, over to Camp. Emery into the paint. Her left-handed lane is good.
And that's a good drive there. You got the defense for Duke really sagging off and trying to stop that drive that Virginia Tech loves to do into the paint. But on that possession, Emery just got off a good look.
Goodchild. Out to Odom. Odom, such great elevation when she goes up for her shot. The best standing vertical on the team, Odom, as well as the fastest player. A really athletic option for Coach McCauley. McGarity, a lot of numbers around her every time she touches the ball, but that leaves someone like Alexis Jean with a little more room.
Yeah, that's a great shot to go down early for Alexis Jean, who got the start tonight in this game. She did not start against Louisville, and Coach said that he just wanted a taller lineup against this Duke team that traditionally has so many big players on the floor.
Yeah, Jean was out a number of games this season, dealing with a couple of different injuries. And this just her 3rd start of the season, just 11th appearance. Shepard in the corner. Jean did just enough to keep it alive for Camp. And that ties the game.
One of the keys for Coach P was to keep Virginia Tech off that 3-point line, and I think that they've had way too many open looks at those shots. They end up with that offensive rebound in this possession. They have to do a better job on D.
Suggs off the glass and in for her first points of the game. That halts a 7-0 run that Virginia Tech had used to tie it up. Hokies started 0 for 6. Have gone 5 for 6 since then. Emery driving with some confidence. McGarity, the offensive putback.
A lot of good looks in the paint. I think Duke is obviously so worried about that 3-point look, and now we've seen Emery a couple times get buckets, and then McGarity on that putback.
Final seconds of the first quarter winding down. Duke winners of 23 straight against Virginia Tech. That is their longest active win streak against any opponent. And Virginia Tech will get a chance here to finish out the quarter, perhaps take an advantage into quarter 2. Garrity and Mabry, the two bring the ball up the floor. Now Mabry lost the handle a little bit. Then they'll have to shoot. McGarity will not get it off in time, so frustrated ending there. Not the execution Kenny Brooks might have liked, but still his team all tied up with Duke on the road in Durham. Haley Gurecki, our hardest star to watch. Lead it. Your tournament tickets, visit Ticketmaster.com. And we mentioned this at the start of this game, but certainly for these two teams, one of the objectives as they stare down the remainder of this ACC season is to try to move up enough where they can get out of the bottom 6 and avoid playing on that first day of the ACC tournament. Makes it so much more difficult. Odom is fouled on her drive to the basket there. Taking a look around the league, couple games last night, big win for Notre Dame, and how about NC State? beating Syracuse on the road. 3 players in that game with double-doubles. Look at that scoring for Pitt and North Carolina. That's just the first quarter there.
Yeah, huge quarter for Pitt, who has struggled scoring this season in ACC play. Good to see them up top. Going back to the tournament, you think about the way that this ACC season has already gone and all the crazy wins and a lot of the teams that, you look at a Duke who traditionally is at the top of the ACC this year has not been able to have those kind of wins. That's what makes tournament time so much fun. There's so much riding on it for a lot of these teams. And these 2 teams, I think in particular, could see some good games.
Baptiste, good feed to the low post for McGarity.
Already 10 points now for Virginia Tech in the paint alone.
Jada Adams, sophomore out of Irvine, California, into the game for Duke. Suggs took a tumble. Odom, didn't matter. Still going to knock down her shot. She has 6.
Coach Brooks said he was going to put McGarity on Odom, and that has been the way it's played out. And that's just an area where Odom was just a little more athletic than McGarity, I thought.
Hokies swinging it around the perimeter. That was the opening Emory needed. Get in a bit closer. Taylor Emory averaging 17.4 points per game. Last year in Virginia Tech's loss at home to Duke, had 30 points, was 6 of 8 from 3 in that game. Just a couple points better than Haley Gurecki for Duke, who had 28 points, but 1 more 3-pointer made. She was 7 for 10, and of course, Duke with the ultimate victory there and getting the overall win. James, Rickenbody James's shot won't go. She's still scoreless. Mabry's already knocked down one of those 3s.
That's where Mabry can be so dangerous in transition if you don't find her early.
Odom, good look inside. Saw Williams get open as the help defense came over, and Williams has her first points of the game.
Great job by Duke is to get that rebound quickly and get out in transition, and I like the pass inside into the post.
Duke up 4. Jean into the paint. And then as she was going for the rebound, Baptiste will be whistled for the foul, her first.
Well, I liked, though, on this offensive set, Virginia Tech set up in that same offense the last time down the floor, but they never made it to that high post area. And I thought they were open. This time, Jean gets the ball, takes a couple dribbles, and that's a good look. It just didn't fall.
It'll be Jada Adams bringing the ball down the floor for the Blue Devils. They're a foul away from the ball. Karen Prianto, Mark Hardcastle, Timothy Bryant are referees tonight. That one will go against Taylor Emory, her first. Williams has it. Didn't want to try her luck against McGarity. Good child. We had a chance to talk with Dara Mabry, Virginia Tech shoot-around today, and I think you brought up to her the fact that we might see a good freshman three-point shooting battle here today between Mila Goodchild for Duke and Mabry for Virginia Tech, that they were right up there in terms of three-point percentage overall in Mabry's case, and for freshmen amongst 2 of the best. And she said, oh, really?
Yeah. I thought that was funny, but I remember that as a player. You don't necessarily pay attention to how everybody else in the league is doing. You just care a lot about what you're doing and your own team. But yeah, Mabry, a lot to be happy about this season. She also said she doesn't feel any of the pressure of being a freshman on this team, and I loved that. You can tell in her play, she just plays so loose.
Gurecki the other way, where she is blocked by McGarity.
We saw a couple big blocks like this in the Virginia Tech Louisville game as McGarity gets her with the left hand. That's just a rejection.
Reagan McGarity, one of those players who, similar to a Gorecki, can really stuff a stat sheet box, certainly in her repertoire. Already has 8 rebounds in this game as well.
She's one that Coach Brooks said is just so unselfish. She actually does not want plays called for her necessarily. She'd rather just play within the offense.
Spin move by Williams. Well, she just hasn't been able to finish so far tonight. Has done a good job of getting her shots. Final touch just lacking a little bit.
And Williams now 1 of 6 on the night.
She's had some big performances. Tied a career high with 17 at Florida State in a loss, and then had 15 points in a win at Pittsburgh. Shepherd wanted it for McGarity. Got bailed out a little there by the kick. Soccer chant breaking out here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. I like it. Emory breaks the drought. The last field goal was at 9:23 on the clock for Virginia Tech. Emory has 4. And pulls the Hokies within 2. Adams picked up her dribble, found Odom. Back to Adams it goes, just inside the 3-point line, but not on the mark.
Just terrific man-to-man defense there for Virginia Tech. Everything that Duke tried to do, they stopped, and they have the advantage with Reagan McGarity in there. Even though she's such a big player, she can switch on all the guards. And so essentially you've got for Virginia Tech 5 players that can switch anybody.
Virginia Tech now with a chance to tie as Camp, a little shaky, but keeps control. Camp out to Emory. Jean with the rebound. And just enough. Virginia Tech fingertips on the ball. Give the Hokies another shot at it.
5 offensive rebounds now for the Hokies.
I think about this Virginia Tech team, as you mentioned it earlier, within 3 points of the number 2 team in the nation, Louisville, on Sunday. Really pushed the Cardinals in that game. And then Duke with that offensive explosion, a big win, 85 points in their win at rival North Carolina, a team that had just taken down Notre Dame and beaten NC State. Shows you the potential of these 2 teams. We'll compete with those that are higher up in the ACC.
And you can't really look at records when you look at either of these 2 teams.
3 from the corner is good. The Hokies are starting to make it rain inside Cameron Indoor Stadium. They've now taken a 4-point lead with just under 4 to play. Reagan McGarity is such a big part of what Virginia Tech does, both on the glass and in scoring, averaging 13.8 points per game and second in the ACC in double-doubles. And with her 4 points tonight, that was enough to move her into that top 5 all-time at Virginia Tech in terms of scoring.
Such a great group of women right there. I played against Terry Williams back in those exact same years. I remember that post player very well, and for Reagan McGarity to be in the list with those names, I think says a lot about what she's done here at Tech.
Only player at Virginia Tech to have both 1,000 points and 1,000 rebounds. She's already first all-time in rebounding for the Hokies.
Yeah, as often as you see 1,000-point performances, and it's not often necessarily, but you have some players that do that. Hardly ever do you see a 1,000-point and 1,000 scoring effort. She's a player that has got a lot of playing time too since she came on this Tech campus and has really grown as a player and matured, and still has, I think, will have a fantastic pro career as well.
See if Duke can get something figured out on this offensive end. They've gone now almost 5 minutes without a field goal. The drought continues as they lose it out of bounds. Oh, their last 8 from the floor.
Yeah, and I really do think that the Tech defense has just stepped up. They've played that man-to-man. They've really contested, I thought, very well in the three-point line, and then still are able to come off and help, and they're rotating well. It's going to be tough to score against that kind of defense.
Well, they quieted Haley Gurecki down too. 10 points for her in the first quarter, none, and just 1 field goal attempt in the second quarter. Meanwhile, Virginia Tech has found some range, as they are wont to do. Now finding McGarity inside, works for some positioning, but a little short on the shot.
You see how much attention she draws? She had 3 players around her on that shot.
It has been a very streaky game so far for both teams. Streak at the moment in favor of Virginia Tech. 8-0 run has the Hokies out in front by 4. And for Duke, what are you looking for here to try to get your offensive back in the flow of things?
Well, you got to take high percentage shots, and I think those are shots inside the paint. And this is a good three-point shooting team. We haven't seen Goodchild score a bucket yet. That's a player who has had big numbers in some games lately.
Went for the steal that time, and Shepherd made her pay. 6 points on 2 threes for Asia Shepherd.
Asia Shepherd, another one of those streaky players. When she gets hot, she starts gaining some confidence, and you got to watch out.
She was huge in Virginia Tech's win at Boston College. Had all 14 of her points in the fourth quarter.
That was to help a 16-point comeback in that game between the third and fourth quarter alone, and she was the difference there.
Mabry whistled for the foul. Scrum under the basket. It's her first.
Esther Mabry, obviously her sister's at Notre Dame, and she was recruited, by a lot of different schools. I said, why Virginia Tech? And she pointed right at Coach Brooks and said, that's why. I have a great relationship with him.
Well, you wanted to see one of those Mila Goodchild threes, Kelly. There you go. Duke in need of points. The freshman delivers.
Darren Mabry, the freshman, was guarding her on that possession there, but nice look. I think that's going to help her, especially down the road in this game. She's got to gain some confidence.
Baptiste working against Donkavati. James, the little step back is good. 4 points for Baptiste, the transfer from Northwest Florida State in her first year with the Hokies. Under a minute to play. Duke trailing Virginia Tech by 6. They led by as many as 7 in this half. And then a foul will go against Duke here as Emory just got sandwiched, and Williams gets whistled for the foul. Coming up, our Hardy's halftime report. We'll have highlights and stats as let's tell you the story of Faith Suggs. It is Valentine's Day, and many different kinds of love to talk about. This one will illustrate the love of a daughter for her mother, one who is no longer able to watch her daughter play. So we'll tell you that story coming up at the half. Virginia Tech had a chance at the end of the first quarter to try to execute. They did not do very well. Couldn't get a shot off. They're going to have to get one off here. And McGarity lost the handle, lost the basketball, turned it over. 5th turnover for Virginia Tech.
Those are things Kenny Brooks is not going to be happy about. Those are 2 lost possessions, as you said. We get end of the first quarter and now the end of the second quarter where they could not score.
See if Duke can do better. Gurecki over Emory's outstretched arm. How about it? Gurecki with 13 points to lead the Blue Devils and close the gap to 3. Both these teams fighting hard for an ACC win here tonight at Cameron Stadium. Jen Hildreth, Kelly Deo, and Virginia Tech leading Duke by 3 after the first half. Very balanced effort, too, by the Hokies. 7 different players scored in that half as Baptiste got the lane to the basket. Quite the unfriendly rim, though, here at Cameron Indoor. Good hands on the other end. As Baptiste disrupting the play.
We didn't see a lot of post touches for Duke in that first half, so I like the fact that they tried to go right into Williams as she had that post player on her back.
Mila Goodchild had 1-3 in the first half. Gorecki had half of Duke's points. Athembody James, the freshman who has continued to grow throughout this season, and it's been the starting lineup now the last 7, still scoreless. Mabry knocks down a 3. That's her second of the game. She was 1 of 4 from distance in the first half.
Virginia Tech will make you pay in that zone. Those corner threes have really been deadly. We've seen Mabry make one early in the half. Asia Shepard made one from there also in that second quarter.
Mabry, the best three-point shooter by percentage in the ACC coming into tonight. And good defense being played there by the Hokies, nearly taking it away. And we talked a lot about all the things that Haley Gorecki has had to do for this Duke team. Leanna Odom, too. Nay, as she likes to be called, bringing the ball in here, trying to inbound it for Duke, has also been asked to really play out of position. And they had Ira Lambert, Michaela Boykin, both out for the season with injury. Also had Rhea Craig, a freshman who wound up transferring just before the holiday. Gorecki, nice move to pick up where she left off. She is 15.
Good up and under move. But back to Odom, too, as that position has changed, she's really developed a lot more of those guard skills. She actually had a career-high 9 assists in that Boston College game just recently. You don't see numbers like that from a 6'2 player very often.
As Coach P told us earlier, it probably will benefit her later, though it's a bit of a struggle for now, at times anyway. Rebound by McGarity. That puts her into double figures on the glass. Her 11th rebound already. She is second in the ACC in double-doubles. Looks like she could be on her way to another one tonight as Emory, her shot just hadn't quite been right the last couple of games. She's getting some looks and has not been able to put them away. Williams wants to drive, and it has been that kind of night for Williams, hasn't it?
I don't know what is on these rims, but every single shot is just rolling out. For Williams in particular, she is struggling right now to get a shot to go down.
Yeah, she was 1 of 5 from the floor in the first half. It's starting to get loud here in Cameron as Emory tries to quiet the crazies. Baptiste had Mabry calling for it. McGarity will do the work on the glass and go to the free throw line.
I'm surprised she didn't pass it to Mabry on that. She was wide open along the three-point line. Good job of ball rotation around the top, and then just takes it in, and Mabry, right place at the right time on that backside to get the board.
McGarity, 74% free throw shooter. By the way, these are the first free throws being shot by Virginia Tech, and Duke only took 2 in the first half.
And the pace of this it shocked me that we were already done with that second quarter. When the horn went off, I was like, already? And I think that's because the officials have not called this game very tight, and I appreciate that as a player. I like when officials just let you play. But, yeah, I think it's been a clean game for the most part, and not a lot of looks at the free throw line. Virginia Tech, the #1 team in the ACC in shooting from that free throw line.
Yeah, they want those opportunities.
Yeah, they sure do.
The percentage that they shoot. And free throw shooting was a big reason why Virginia was able to get the win over Duke on Sunday. 10 of 12 from the free throw line with the Cavaliers, and that was only in the fourth quarter. Duke just shot 5 for the game. A big disparity there.
Yeah, you're not going to win a game when you can only get to the free throw line 5 times and your opponent goes that many times, and that's just an attack mentality. And Duke's got to have that, and they need that more right now against Virginia Tech. They've got to get into the paint, find some higher percentage shots, make Virginia Tech foul you. And that's a look right there. Why not go into the post there?
Good child. Got the shot off, but no good. Sophia Roma in there defensively working against McGarity, but Reagan McGarity looking strong to start this third quarter. 7 points now to go along with 13 rebounds.
When you play behind her in the post, she's going to be difficult to defend. She's got such a great repertoire of offensive moves in that paint. Saw those step backs earlier on in this game, and that time she just went right at the bucket.
Cleanup required of some sort on the floor is what we can gather from the stoppage here. Perhaps one of the players, looks like Akinbadi James, getting treated, maybe some blood on the floor as we show you some scores. A tight one there between Florida State and Clemson. How good has Florida State been in close games this season, too?
I know, they do not lose when they get 10 points or under.
Yep, 9-0 in games decided by 5 points or less. And how about that score? I'm not going to lie. I did a little bit of a double take when I saw that score. Pitt is a team, this is just the start of the third quarter. They average 56.6 points per game. They're the lowest scoring team in the ACC this season. They had 53 at the half.
But what's happened? What did Lance White do this week of practice to get this team ready to go?
Tell you what, Cassidy Walsh was going off in that first half. She had 17 points, knocked down 5 of 6 from 3. So we'll see. Still plenty of time left in that one. And Paris Key, that was your first question. What has Paris Key done? And the answer was nothing at halftime, at least not on the scoreboard. She had yet to score, so that could be a big change. We'll see how that one plays out.
I mean, she's the game changer, I think, for UNC. Obviously, we talked about that Duke win over UNC. That was without Paris Key, and that's major. You think about the game that UNC beat Notre Dame, Paris Key had 30.
Yeah. Roma. 5 on the shot clock now for Goodchild. Running out of time. 17-footer. Missed it all. And how about this key cog, would you say, Kelly Deo, to the Tar Heel success?
Any number of puns you can use with that last name. Yeah, I mean, those are the numbers. When she plays, you know, at a high level, they win games. And I mean, you see that 30 points against Notre Dame, and I mean, she's one of those players that's a lot of fun to watch. I mean, they were not winning games early on in this ACC season, but they've started to put away some big ones.
You get a chance to see Paris Key and the Tar Heels on Sunday on the Regional Sports Network as they host Virginia. Contact in there, and the referee's pointing the other way, so Virginia Tech ball. It has been a streaky game for both teams. Duke currently in a drought. The Hokies up 7. Here at Cameron Indoor on this Valentine's Day night. The Duke players were out and about handing out Valentines and chocolates and maybe a couple tickets to the game. Some of their friends, favorite professors earlier today.
And I brought one of my Valentines to the game. My oldest son, James, got to join me. Come to Cameron Indoor. How fun is that?
Yeah, this is a special place. If you've never been here, I know you've played here. And meanwhile, while we're chatting away, Virginia Tech lost control of the time as well. Shot clock violation.
And you got to credit the full court pressure, three-quarter court at least, that Duke just displayed there. They got that defense working, and I think that is what needs to pick up. I think Virginia Tech has just had too many easy looks at the basket. And on the other side, Virginia Tech's defense, I think that's the story of this game.
That basket right there, which will count by Gurecki, the first in over 4 minutes. Another big drought that Duke has gone through in this game.
And there's the look at the basket and drive. She played her pretty well. and then just too much body when she went up for the shot. But that's the look you want. When you're struggling to score, you got to take those high percentage shots. And going one-on-one to the bucket, Gorecki can do that against any of the guards on this Virginia Tech team. I think she's got to look for her shot a little bit more.
18 points now for Haley Gorecki. Makes this a 4-point game. McGarity spotting up her three just off the front of the rim.
And that's where it can be dangerous to apply some pressure to a team like Virginia Tech, who can shoot so well outside, because you saw that look from McGarity. That was almost in, but it was very wide open against that press.
Kendall Brooks left open, never a good idea. She can knock him down. Had a couple big ones as Virginia Tech made its way back into the game against Louisville on Sunday.
This is where Coach P is going to have to make a decision defensively. She said, yeah, I'd love to change up defenses a lot, but I don't have the numbers. And so they're going to have to stay in that zone.
Another drive and potential, it looked like, for a three-point play, but Goodchild will have to settle with taking a couple of free throws. Second foul on Brooks.
2 straight possessions, 2 different Blue Devil players going to the basket, drawing fouls.
Goodchild, what a three-point threat she has been in her first season with the Blue Devils. Freshman out of Queensland, Australia. Already second on Duke's freshman list for three-pointers made, has 52. Third in the ACC in three-point percentage.
She trails Rebecca Greenwell, by the way, for that on that all-freshman list. She had 72. You imagine with the shooting that she continues to have, she may catch her.
And Greenwell better watch out. She's calling games on the radio.
Right.
I'm sure she'd be happy to call that, though. As you know, usually you're happy when your records get bested.
When you think about a program like Duke, historically has been so great. A lot of great shooters in this program. I think of people like Elena Beard, and to think that Goodchild, could potentially have a record like that says a lot.
You knew it was going to be a big change last year to this year when you lose a Rebecca Greenwell and Alexi Brown, ACC Defensive Player of the Year, 2,000-point scorer. Greenwell, the best three-point shooter all time at Duke. But then the injuries really impacted things for this young team.
Yeah, that's not ever anything you can count on, and you just have to make adjustments. And it's been a difficult season, for Duke. Nice look there by McGarity. I just love that step back. How many times did I say that in the Louisville game? She's so effective down there.
And a lot of times you want your post players to go up strong, right? But you don't mind as long as she's making that, I guess.
Well, and she's got her shot right at the top of her head, and so nobody's going to touch it.
Odom into the paint. She's been relatively quiet so far. Looking to change that now with 8 in the game. Baptiste turned, realized nobody was there, so tried to go to the basket, but Akinbadi James doing a good job defensively.
Well, this is where Reagan McGarity is at her best, really, is when she's calling for the ball. Look at the positioning she has inside. Akinbadi James on her back, and a great step back to just get the ball up high in the air. I mean, it's just impossible. It's like the hook shot, the old school hook shot. I remember trying to learn that with a coach back in Minnesota. He's like, nobody will ever block this shot. I'll tell you what, nobody will block that.
How did you do with the hook shot?
I think it was decent. It was okay.
Part of the repertoire?
That's right.
Akinbadi James with the drive. Saw a lot of that. She was big at moments in that win over North Carolina, doing just that, but getting the finish at the end. Emery Hemden gets it to McGarity. That's a good option usually. Jump ball on the floor. They'll stay with Virginia Tech. So many close losses in conference play for both of these teams. And for Duke, their last 6 ACC losses have all been by 9 points or less. Virginia Tech has led in every ACC game at some point, and now McGarity has another double-double.
And I think that's where, playing in a league like the ACC, even though it is the best league in women's basketball, that can be hard sometimes because you pick up more losses, and then that translates into whether or not you get into that coveted NCAA tournament.
Goodchild. And then McGarity doing the work on the defensive glass. 15th rebound. Emery saw the double team, passed out of it. Under a minute to play in the third quarter. Both Duke and Virginia Tech had started to gain some momentum before losses in their last ACC contest. Who can grab it back tonight? As Kenny Brooks said, this is the start of a new season for us. We're 0-0.
Yeah, I said that's the mantra, and I love that. You got to forget about the losses, even the wins sometimes. You're 0-0. Win the next one.
Goodchild. A friendly roll off the rim. And once again, Virginia Tech has a chance to execute at the end of a quarter, and they get into trouble. Good hands by Odom. McGarity got in trouble. Jump ball, possession Duke.
And there you see that three-quarter court pressure, really just a token pressure, like a 2-2-1, not necessarily trying to go for steals, just trying to slow them down a bit, and they get up a turnover off of it.
Odom shot missed, no chance for the offensive rebound, and as we get ready for the fourth quarter, the Virginia Tech Hokies still out in front. Early on in this one, Virginia Tech was using the outside shot to stay in the game, keep it close. Tell you what though, Kelly, lately they have found a way to get inside. Reagan McGarity, 7 of the last 10 for the Hokies.
Yeah, she's wanted the ball, and she's been aggressive, I think, inside, getting position. Their next cut to the basket just wraps around the defender to score, and when she gets going, that's going to be tough.
Now the challenge, one that has plagued Virginia Tech throughout much of this ACC season. Can they finish? They've been outscored in the fourth quarter in ACC play, 143 to 101. Had a really good fourth quarter against Louisville on Sunday. Prior to that, in their ACC losses, they had more turnovers than field goals in the fourth quarter. So we'll see if they can figure out a way to hang on here on the road and get their first win against Duke since 1998. Tell you what, keep feeding number 11 right now. You're Virginia Tech.
It's a huge key to success for you, and a way too, to not necessarily have a turnover. When you can just get the ball inside and you've got your big to go and score at the bucket, or at least attempt to score, that's a possession, and that's the shot you want in that possession. Right now both teams sitting at 7 turnovers in this game. I'd say both coaches would be extremely happy by that number.
McGarity, 3 for 4 from the free throw line in this one. In the paint, around and in for Gurecki. Saw her knock down a 3 as we just came back from break showing you earlier. She has 20 now for Duke, doing it both inside and outside.
Well, and she's the kind of player who will take matters into her own hands, and she kind of needs to at this point. This is a winnable game for Duke, and this is one that it's going to be heartbreaking if they do end up with a loss in this one, because they have the keys, or the people at least, to come back with a win.
Williams able to hang on to the ball. She's on the floor with 3 fouls, by the way, Jade Williams for Duke, so something to keep an eye on.
Nobody else really being able to score much at all for Duke. Just Odom with 8 after Gurecki with 20.
Goodchild. Up and under on the other side. She has 8 now. Duke creeping back into this one, now down 4. Largest lead of the game has been 8 for Virginia Tech. Emery found a gap in that zone, put the ball on the floor, and now gets it out to McGarity. And Williams again hangs on to the rebound.
It's a good stop for Duke right there, because I thought that offense was really well executed by Virginia Tech.
Haley Gorecki, who had a triple-double earlier this season against Pittsburgh, trying to lead this Blue Devil team tonight. Hokies take it away. 8th turnover by Duke. Emery desperately wanting to knock down a 3, and she does.
And she needed that one to fall. She's got 7 points now. She's 3 of 13, coming off that difficult game, offensive game at least, where she had 8 against Louisville.
Foul on the floor against Virginia Tech.
And there's the pass. How about that? Feet ready, hands ready. Ball goes in.
Well, Kenny Brooks mentioned that Taylor Emery had a bit more of a pep in her step earlier this week. Received some good news on Monday. Found out that she was accepted into Virginia Tech's veterinary school, and talked to her earlier. She had a big smile on her face. She tweeted about it earlier in the week, said it's been one of her dreams since she was a little kid. Either be a vet or professional basketball player, and she's got a chance to do both.
Well, they said it was just a huge burden off her shoulders, because it's been a dream all in her entire life. And so to have that, and to know that you've gotten into the vet school at Virginia Tech, which is a highly rated vet school, is a big deal.
McGarity trying to answer after that basket by Goodchild, and she does. 15 for Reagan McGarity. You talked about how diverse this Virginia Tech team can be when you have McGarity scoring on the inside, and she can step back too. And if you have an Emery or anybody else heating up outside, so many different weapons Virginia Tech can utilize.
Yeah, and then you look at that game against Boston College, where Shepard comes in and has 14 in the 4th quarter.
There is Shepard. Camp, Baptiste, McGarity, and Emery also on the floor for Virginia Tech. Get it into McGarity. There's your step back, Kelly. She's working it.
All 5 players touched the ball on that last possession. Worked it around the top, made the defense move, and McGarity just open inside.
Largest lead of the night for Virginia Tech. Jada Adams steps around the defender for her first points.
Duke could use that. Some other players stepping up. The defense is zoned in on Gorecki right now.
Almost the same spot where Taylor Emery just hit a 3. Not so that time. It can't just be Haley Gorecki if you're Duke. I mean, she does it all for them. Leads them in points, rebounds, free throws, assists, steals. She needs some help. Williams. No good.
And that's the court vision right there that Gorecki has, that Kenny Brooks was so impressed by. He said, I'd pay to watch this girl play. He said the way that she sees the basketball game is different than anybody else that plays at this level.
There is McGarity driving to the basket. Right now, Kenny Brooks happy he gets to watch McGarity play in a Virginia Tech uniform. Right. She is having a night, Reagan McGarity, leading the Virginia Tech Hokies, who want to stay in the lead and finish strong on the road. They've won her as a little girl when that was her dream. It still is. Because I'm beyond blessed. Hard work always pays off.
You got to think that she's a Division I athlete and plays at one of the best schools in the country. And still to have the academic prowess to pull that off is incredible.
Goodchild got the shot she wanted there off the timeout. Couldn't put it away. And now we are in another break zone, so we'll take a quick one. Back to Cameron after this. Still out in front of North Carolina, the Panthers looking for their first ACC win of the season. Well, that is the second time we had those 2 quick timeouts in succession, and Duke got to look to Goodchild off the first one, and they got to look to Odom off that one inside. Couldn't put either of them away.
And that's where coaches make adjustments are in those timeouts. And I thought Duke did a good job of executing, just couldn't finish.
Turnover, Virginia Tech. Really, turnovers for both teams probably in the acceptable range. Because that's been an issue for these two teams. They've had to play a lot of young and inexperienced players. Jada Adams on a pump fake. McGarity was going for the block, gets called for the foul instead. It's her first.
No surprise that getting to the paint is a point of emphasis right now for Coach P. Great shot fake on the perimeter, got all the way into the paint. You know, we talked to her before the game, and I said, this reminds me a lot of Notre Dame team last year. You know, lost 4 to ACL, and she was quick to say they didn't lose 3-point guards, which, and not putting it, you know, not saying anything against Notre Dame at all, but that is so different when you lose those playmakers and people that direct your offense, and that's where people like Gorecki and Odom have been playing a little more out of position.
I think that is a great point, because you do kind of want to make that comparison. Everybody has an opinion on who should get the ball right now, by the way. You can see what Jada Adams thinks about it. And guess what? She was right.
She was right. That's right.
Duke looking for a spark. Is it Adams? Just went to the free throw line.
I'll be surprised if it isn't Adams, the way that she is, even just her body language out there right now. Something's different with this Duke team in this fourth quarter. You sense a little bit of urgency that's coming from them.
Good pass from Mabry to McGarity, and a chance for one more.
So McGarity currently 21 points on 9 of 15 from the field. Good job using the screen there by Mabry. Nice bounce pass inside. 16 boards also for McGarity, by the way. 3 assists. She will stuff a stat sheet.
Nay Odom whistled for the foul. McGarity now with 18 of the last 24 Virginia Tech points. She is 22 in the game.
And see, normally with a player like Taylor Emery, who's the leading scorer, it would be a problem if her offensive game weren't going, but not with a team like Virginia Tech, where other players can step up big.
And Gorecki has been the one to consistently step up for this Duke team. She drives, is fouled. Now she'll shoot some free throws as Emery picks up her second personal.
We talked early on in this game about how Gorecki gets those high number points when she shoots a really good percentage. Right now, 21 points on 8 of 13 from the field. That's terrific.
Well, the excellent work by Lindy Brown here at Sports Information at Duke pointed out that Gorecki averages 15.8 field goal attempts per game, and if the season ended today, that would be a school record for the most by any player. Tells you an awful lot about the volume of shots that she has had to take, really, for this team this season.
Yeah, and I don't think she forces it either. I feel like she's taking those within the offense, and she just gets good looks. Oh, that's a matchup you don't want to see, but Gorecki gets the steal from it. I thought that was a tremendous post-up by McGarity, just a poorly placed pass.
Thought Gorecki was about to have the steal, then the assist, but Goodchild couldn't help her out with that. Lead still 6 for Virginia Tech. Can they have the composure to hang on? Have they learned after an 0-7 start to conference play where they had so many close games? You think about NC State, Florida State, games maybe they not only could have but should have won right there down to the wire and didn't. Timeout called as McGarity was stuck on the far sideline. Virginia Tech also losing in overtime to Syracuse. I mean, the list goes on and on in terms of where they've been. But as you said, where are they going? And this is what's coming up for the Hokies.
Yeah, and that's winnable, in my opinion. Those are some tough games coming up. The Miami one in particular. Miami has proved to be a really hot team lately. Clemson, of course, another great team. But and as we said, ACC play can always change. You got to be ready for every game. But I think with what Virginia Tech has, those are winnable games.
Yeah, and the point being, they have gone through what would be considered the gauntlet of their schedule, right? They had to play at Miami to open conference play, and then against 14th ranked Syracuse, against number 1 Notre Dame, at 8th ranked NC State, against 22nd ranked Florida State. I mean, they have had those ranked teams all in that first half of their conference schedule. McGarity, good defense as Odom stepped over to block her path to the basket. Duke 0 for 5 in the last nearly 4 minutes of this one. McGarity, if she gets credit for that rebound before the jump ball, that would tie her career high. Not sure if they'll count that one. And they do, so she is now tied a career high. 18 rebounds to go along with 22 points. She only trails Beatrice Montpremier in the ACC in double-doubles this season, has 16 now on the season. Gorecki off the inbounds. Had to split 2 defenders. Tough shot.
And that's a possession I think where Duke had to score. You're almost under 2 minutes of play, and at this point it's a possession game. And Virginia Tech will take some time off the clock.
And Duke has had several significant droughts in this game, and they've had some timely three-point shooting, bail them out of those, plus Gorecki and her 22 points. Camp a drive to the basket, then a lot of control, big rebound by Goodchild. Has Gorecki the far side, sees her, but Gorecki didn't like the first option. Time ticking, though, for the Blue Devils. Adams will take the shot. Long 2, around and out, and now decision time for Duke. Jada Adams trying to fire up her defense. McGarity trying to keep everybody in an orange jersey calm. Interesting to note that freshman Dara Mabry not on the floor right now for Virginia Tech. They put the ball in McGarity's hands.
I mean, and to think that you can have confidence in your post player to bring up the ball in those situations, that's huge. It's not often that a post player has those kind of guard skills, and that means if you try to press Virginia Tech, you've got another ball handler in the situation back, in the backcourt, and that only helps Kenny Brooks and his team.
A lot of smiles on that Virginia Tech side. Here's what's coming up for Duke. They travel to see 6th-ranked Notre Dame in their next contest. Finishing things up against North Carolina. Expect that to be another good one. Might have a little revenge on the minds of the Tar Heels, who had their hands full of the Panthers tonight. Still trailed by 11 with just under a minute and a half to play in that one. Looks like the Panthers are going to pick up their first ACC win. And Virginia Tech trying to pick up their first win against Duke in the last 24 meetings. They have lost 23 straight to the Blue Devils. Their last win coming in 1998, before most of these players were born, as Kenny Brooks pointed out to us. That one hurt a little bit. You and I remember 98 pretty well.
We sure do. We sure do.
Virginia Tech now has Mabry back on the floor. Great free throw shooter, Mabry. Duke not fouling, at least not yet. Shepard picks it up, launches, shot clock violation, so count that a win for the Duke defense.
And I wonder if they're going to check this, because you had every single player and coach up for Virginia Tech pointing at the shot clock, and I thought I saw it hit just the rim. Now I would say we're up in the crow's nest. That's a little bit of a difficult angle to see from here, but
we'll give you a better look at it. Well, you sit it, maybe
So you
glance
see the
off.
balls, change direction, and I think that's what you have to look for. Now the question is, did it hit the backboard or that kind of back part of the rim?
Give you another look right at the rim.
Angle.
Yeah.
Was it a shadow? It's
Gosh.
so hard to see. That's tough.
Timeout called by Coach McCauley, so Duke wants to talk things over. Trail by 9.
I'm surprised that Duke's not fouling in this situation. Under a minute to play, you're down. I mean, this is a potential scenario to foul, get somebody on the line. Again, Virginia Tech, a fantastic free throw shooting team. I understand that could play into this, but that's the only way to get the ball back.
And Duke still has 3 more fouls to get into the bonus to have Virginia Tech shoot. So if that's the strategy, I'd imagine you're going to see a lot of fouling pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But as it is, Duke did keep possession after that. They were checking to see shot clock violation. They choose to advance the basketball off the timeout. Have to get some points in a hurry, though. Gorecki driving on McGarity off the glass for 2.
Now you see full court pressure.
Trying to get the jump ball. Do they without a foul? Or was a timeout called? Looked like Kenny Brooks was calling a timeout, and he did get the timeout called.
I mean, it's just seconds before a potential jump ball or foul here. You saw Karen Prieto looking for that jump ball, but man, Kenny Brooks really called that one in time.
The timely timeout called by Coach Brooks.
And now you see their pressure that they're applying. No surprise there, but this is where Kenny can make adjustments. Set up a press break.
So McGarity set to inbound for Virginia Tech. Good defense being played by Duke, and another timeout called by Kenny Brooks. Taking no chances there. Or was McGarity not willing to throw it in unless she saw a clear path to another Hokie.
Yeah, this is one of those scenarios. You know that as soon as the ball gets inbounds, it's going to be a foul. And so, first of all, you want it to go to the right player, and you want to make sure that you come meet the ball if you're Virginia Tech. You cannot leave anything to chance. You don't want any lob passes that a defense could come and pick off. This should just be a direct pass into a player and then ready for the foul.
And no timeouts remaining for Virginia Tech. 1 for Duke. There's Mabry breaking free. Gorecki comes over, taps the ball away, but fouls in the process. So that'll send, actually not yet, because they're still so far behind in terms of team fouls. That's just the 3rd team foul, so no free throws yet for Virginia Tech. Next one will put the Hokies on the line.
We mentioned that the game with Duke against UVA, they only went to the foul line 5 times. That's as many times as Virginia Tech has been in this game.
Now it'll be Taylor Emery, an 84% free throw shooter, who will get to step to the line for Virginia Tech.
Shooting 2, Taylor Emery.
First one good. It's been a quieter night than Emery would like, but doing a job, at least on that first free throw. Virginia Tech might not mind going on the road. It's where they have found their success in the ACC this season already. 2 ACC road wins. This would be number 3.
And that's a big deal when you're talking about a league like the ACC, number 1 RPI. You know, the SID for Virginia Tech said that the girls love the orange jerseys, and so they've continued to go with them, and maybe these are bringing them some good luck.
It's going to be orange the rest of the way, I think. And if Reagan McGarity plays the way she did tonight, I think she should get to choose the jersey color.
22 points, 18 rebounds, 3 assists for the senior. She's been all over the place. She's wanted the ball. She's demanded it, in fact, and she's been able to finish inside.
There have been times this season she plays so many minutes, McGarity, just under 35 minutes per game, that she gets quiet and seems to fizzle out a little bit. That has not been the case tonight.
Yeah, and when you look at her numbers all time, as you saw, she just moved to number 5 in the all-time scoring list of Virginia Tech in this game. And that's a really big deal. We talked to Coach Kenny Brooks about the Louisville game, and he said the major key in that game when things really started to kind of fall apart for us was early when McGarity got that second foul in the first half, and she had to come out of the game, and everything changed. Her presence on the floor is big.
Just 1 foul tonight for McGarity. Odom finds Gurecki. And the pass tipped. Back to Odom. A deep 3, and that doesn't even do it justice, but it banks in for Goodchild. Is that life for Duke?
And that's just a big 3. Goodchild, we know, is a tremendous three-point shooter. Second among freshmen in the ACC. But, I mean, you said it. You can't even... That range is crazy. That's Steph Curry range.
Like the shot that he makes from the hallway before he gets on the court range.
I mean, granted, it went off the backboard, and we'll say she called it.
Yes, it went in. That's what matters. Big free throw for Emery, who coolly hits it. 10 points now for Taylor Emery.
Emery now in double figures.
Well, it's not the 30-point game she had last year against Duke, but it may be enough this time around. Gurecki and the Blue Devils keep fighting out a couple more points. They foul Emery again.
Watching the way that Duke has been able to score does make you wonder if Coach P would have liked to start fouling a little bit earlier. And they've been able to score on those possessions. Now, granted, Virginia Tech is making those free throws.
And you'd think, I mean, that's one of the reasons I think so many people were scratching their heads as to why Virginia Tech didn't have an ACC win for so long, starting 0-7 in conference play, because they can hit their free throws. And Emery certainly has done that tonight. She's been perfect from the line so far. Make it 6 for 6 now for Taylor Emery. Total of 13 points in the game. Blue Devils turned over, and then Goodchild called for the foul. And it's just been this kind of a season for Duke where there's been a lot of inconsistency. You know, they don't have that go-to scorer, or they do, but she's on the bench with injury. You've got Kyra Lambert on the bench, who's been a big part of the coaching staff this season, has really helped out in that regard. And Michaela Boykin, also an ACL tear out. You know, this is a drastically different team just with taking those two out of the mix.
And I think they've been so guard heavy in this game. The post players have not contributed really at all. You've got Gurecki with 23, Goodchild 13, and Akinbadi James, no points in this game.
And Virginia Tech's going to do it. They are going to snap the streak despite some ridiculously long threes from Duke here to keep it close at the end. It'll be another close loss, but it is indeed a loss for the Blue Devils. Virginia Tech beating Duke for the first time since 1998.
Hats out to the Hokies and their game plan coming in tonight. I thought they were tremendous from start to finish, and it was their defense, in my opinion, that won them this game.
The Hokies hang on to pick up their third ACC